Welcome back, coin enthusiasts, treasure hunters, and history buffs. Today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating coins in U.S. history, the 1970 Lincoln penny. You might be wondering, could this simple penny really be worth an astounding $165 million? Well, we're about to take a journey through history, exploring the origin, value, and hidden treasures within the 1970 Lincoln penny. In today's video, we'll cover everything you need to know, from the penny's creation, its role in American history, the market value today, and the specific conditions that can lead to these coins being worth a fortune. So stick around, because this isn't just any penny, and you might be sitting on something truly valuable. Let's set the stage. The year is 1970, and the United States is navigating through a time of social change, technological innovation, and economic challenge. The Vietnam War was ongoing, the space race was nearing its height, and domestically, inflation was rising. In the middle of all this, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins that would fuel the American economy. The Lincoln penny had already been in circulation for over 6 decades by this point, having first been introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by the sculptor Victor David Brenner, the penny became an iconic piece of American currency, loved for its representation of Lincoln's legacy and admired for its clean, simple design. In 1970, pennies were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia No Mint Mark, Denver D Mint Mark, and San Francisco S Mint Mark. What we're focusing on today is the 1970 Lincoln penny, particularly those minted in Denver with a D Mint Mark, which could potentially be worth life-changing sums of money, up to $165 million in the most extreme cases. But what is it about the 1970 penny that makes it so special? Let's dive deeper into the design, composition, and production. The 1970 Lincoln penny maintains the classic design that we've come to know and love. The obverse, or front, features a right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This design by Victor David Brenner has been a staple of American currency since its debut in 1909. The reverse side features the Lincoln Memorial, an iconic structure that honors the president and symbolizes national unity. In terms of composition, the 1970 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, just like other Lincoln pennies produced between 1962 and 1982. This means it has a distinctive reddish-brown hue, which collectors refer to as a red penny if it's in mint condition. Pennies of this era weighed 3.11 grams, a little heavier than today's pennies, which are made mostly of zinc with a thin copper coating. Now, while billions of pennies were minted in 1970, certain factors can make a single penny from that year stand out and be worth astronomical amounts. Next, we'll look at what you should be watching for. What's the secret sauce that can turn a 1970 Lincoln penny from pocket change into a $165 million treasure? The answer lies in rarity and mint errors. Not all pennies are created equal, and certain rare variations of the 1970 penny are what drive its value through the roof. One of the most exciting factors that can increase the value of your 1970 penny is mint errors. These are mistakes that occur during the coin's production process at the U.S. Mint. Here are some of the errors you should be on the lookout for. 1. Double die. This occurs when the coin is struck twice with a slightly shifted die, causing certain elements of the design, like the date or Lincoln's features, to appear doubled. A 1970 Lincoln penny with a double die error can fetch thousands or even millions of dollars depending on the condition. 2. Off-center strike. If the coin is struck off-center, with part of the design missing or misaligned, collectors will pay big money for these rarities. The more off-center the strike, the more valuable the penny can be. 3. Repunched mint mark, RPM. In 1970, repunched mint marks were quite common, particularly for coins struck at the Denver Mint. If the D mint mark appears to be struck more than once, you could be looking at a valuable repunched mint mark coin. 4. Small date versus large date. The 1970s Lincoln penny is famous for having 2 varieties, the small date and the large date. While the 1970 D penny doesn't have this distinction, collectors are always on the lookout for unique varieties and errors that make their coin stand out. All these errors and varieties make certain 1970 pennies incredibly sought after by collectors. When these coins are found in near-perfect, mint-state condition, their value skyrockets at auction. We'll cover some of the most notable sales and record-breaking auction prices later in the video. Okay, so now that you know what can make a 1970 Lincoln penny worth a fortune, how can you tell if you have one of these rare gems in your own collection? Here are some key steps to help you identify a potentially valuable penny. 1. Check the date and mint mark. Start by confirming that your penny is from 1970 and look for the D mint mark just below the date on the obverse side. This tells you that your penny was minted in Denver, which is crucial for the type of coin we're discussing today. Point 2. Look for mint errors. Use a magnifying glass or coin loop to inspect the details of the coin. Pay close attention to the date, Lincoln's profile, and the mint mark for any signs of doubling or repunched marks. Any visible errors can increase the coin's value exponentially. Point 3. Examine the condition. The condition, or grade, of the coin plays a huge role in its value. Coins that have been in circulation and show wear are less valuable than those that have been preserved in mint-state condition. Look for pennies with minimal wear, sharp details, and a shiny, original luster. These are often graded as MS65 or higher. Point 4. Weigh the coin. Authentic 1970 pennies should weigh 3.11 grams. If your penny weighs significantly more or less, it could indicate a mint error, such as being struck on the wrong planchet, which can dramatically increase its value. Point 5. Get it professionally graded. If you think you've found a rare 1970 Lincoln penny, it's worth sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. These companies will authenticate the coin's condition and mint errors, giving it an official grade that can significantly boost its resale value. Over the years, some 1970 Lincoln pennies have sold for incredible sums at auction. While no single coin has yet reached the fabled $165 million mark, some have come pretty close in terms of value relative to their. Dear coin collectors and history lovers, today we dig into the most exciting, rare, and valuable coins out there. We're talking about one of the most iconic pennies in U.S. history, the 1979 Lincoln penny. Some people believe this humble penny could be worth as much as $99 million on the collector's market. Could you have one of these in your pocket right now? Stick around to find out. In this video, we'll dive into the history behind the 1979 Lincoln penny, explore its fascinating design and composition, and break down the factors that could make one of these pennies worth a fortune. We'll also take a close look at some of the most notable sales in the coin world and give you tips on how to identify whether you've got a valuable piece of history. Let's get started. To fully appreciate the value of the 1979 Lincoln penny, we have to start by looking at its historical background. The year 1979 was a time of significant economic and political change in the United States. The country was dealing with high inflation rates and fluctuating economic conditions, which had an impact on everything, including the production of our nation's coins. The Lincoln penny, which had been in circulation since 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, was still going strong in 1979. The U.S. Mint continued to strike these pennies with the familiar wheat ear reverse design until 1958. After which they adopted the Lincoln Memorial reverse design that you see on pennies struck between 1959 and 2008. The 1979 Lincoln penny isn't just a part of this long history. It's also a penny minted in large numbers during an era when coin collecting was growing in popularity. However, while most of these pennies might seem like ordinary coins, there are some special editions and rare era coins from 1979 that have caught the attention of collectors. And that's what makes this year so special. Let's take a closer look at the design and composition of the 1979 Lincoln penny. The obverse front of the coin, as always, features the profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909. Lincoln's image on the penny is one of the longest-running designs in U.S. coinage history. The reverse back of the 1979 penny features the Lincoln Memorial, a design that first appeared in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design, created by Frank Gasparo, includes a detailed image of the Memorial Building in Washington, D.C. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside, a tribute to the original memorial's architecture. Now, what about the composition? Like many pennies before it, the 1979 Lincoln penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which gives it that reddish-brown hue that collectors love. However, by 1982, the U.S. Mint would begin transitioning to pennies made primarily from zinc, with only a thin copper coating, due to the rising cost of copper. So, the 1979 penny is part of the last few years of predominantly copper pennies, adding to its appeal for collectors. So, why could a 1979 Lincoln penny be worth as much as $99 million? While this might seem like an outrageous figure, there are a few key factors that could make certain 1979 pennies worth an incredible amount of money. Let's break it down. 1. Rarity and mint errors. One of the most significant factors in a coin's value is rarity. While millions of 1979 pennies were produced, only a small fraction of them have unique mint errors. These errors can happen during the coin's production process and are highly prized by collectors. Some of the most valuable errors include doubled die errors ***. This happens when the coin is struck more than once with a misaligned die, creating a doubled image. For the 1979 penny, finding one with a visible doubled die, particularly on the date or Lincoln's features, could make it worth a fortune. Off-center strikes ***. If the coin was struck off-center, it's another error that collectors seek. Off-center strikes can range in value depending on how dramatic the error is, but these coins can easily sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars. Repunched mint marks ***. Some 1979 pennies, particularly those from the Denver Mint, may have a repunched mint mark RPM, where the D mint mark was punched more than once, creating a doubled image. This type of error can increase the value of the penny significantly. Point 2. Condition. Another critical factor in determining a penny's value is its condition. Coins that have been well preserved and show little to no signs of wear are known as mint state coins. A 1979 penny in MS65 or higher condition can command serious money at auction. In fact, the highest graded 1979 pennies have sold for thousands of dollars. If you have a 1979 penny that's been tucked away for years in pristine condition, you could be sitting on a gold mine. 3. Historical significance. Although the 1979 penny might not have the same historical aura as older pennies, it represents the final years of the copper-dominated Lincoln pennies, adding a layer of significance for collectors who focus on transitions in coinage materials. This historical context can add to the penny's desirability in the long run, especially as copper prices continue to rise. Now, let's talk about the market value of the 1979 Lincoln penny. While the idea of one selling for $99 million might seem far-fetched, it's important to note that rare pennies, especially those in mint-state condition or with errors, have sold for extraordinary amounts at auctions. Let's look at some recent auction sales for Lincoln pennies. A 1979 Lincoln penny in MS67 condition recently sold for over $3,000. Another 1979 penny with a significant double die error fetched nearly $7,500 at a high-profile auction, even more common. 1979 pennies in lesser grades but with notable errors can easily sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. As collectors and investors continue to pour into the numismatic market, the demand for error coins, especially those from transitional periods like the late 1970s, continues to rise. So, while we haven't yet seen a 1979 penny sell for $99 million, the potential for high sales is there, especially as more collectors discover these hidden treasures. Alright, let's get practical. How can you tell if your 1979 Lincoln penny is worth big money? Here are the steps you need to follow. 1. Examine the mint mark first. Check the mint mark below the date on the obverse side of the coin. Most 1979 pennies will have no mint mark, meaning they were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. If you see a D below the date, it means your coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which could make it more desirable depending on the condition and potential errors. Point 2. Look for errors next. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop to inspect your penny for any. Welcome back, coin collectors and history enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic and beloved coins in American history, the 1981 Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard it right. The very penny that you might have in your change jar could be worth a staggering $145 million. But how is that possible? What makes this particular penny so valuable? In this video, we're going to break down the history, value, and market potential of the 1981 Lincoln penny, a coin that's part of American history and has captured the imagination of collectors. Whether you're a coin hobbyist or just curious about the pennies in your pocket, stick around because we've got some incredible information coming your way. Let's kick things off by taking a trip back to 1981. Ronald Reagan had just been inaugurated as president, MTV was about to change the world of music, and the U.S. Mint was producing millions of pennies that would become a staple of American currency. The Lincoln cent, also known as the Lincoln penny, had been in circulation since 1909, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by the renowned sculptor Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln penny became an iconic representation of both the 16th President of the United States and the enduring strength of the American people. The 1981 penny followed the same design formula that had been in place since 1959, featuring Lincoln's profile on the obverse front and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse back. However, The 1981 Lincoln penny was produced at a time when the composition of the coin was about to change forever. In 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from a primarily copper-based penny to a zinc-based penny due to the rising cost of copper. So, the 1981 penny is one of the last years where pennies were made predominantly of 95% copper and 5% zinc, which plays a significant role in its value and collectability today. Now let's talk about the design and composition of the 1981 Lincoln penny. On the obverse side, you'll find the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His depiction of Lincoln has graced the front of the penny for over a century, making it one of the most recognizable coins in the world. Above Lincoln's head, you'll see the word Liberty, and to the right of his portrait, the date 1981, with some pennies featuring a mint mark indicating the location where the penny was produced, either Philadelphia P or no mint mark, Denver D, or San Francisco S for proof coins. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find the Lincoln Memorial, which was introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design replaced the original wheat ears on the reverse of the earlier Lincoln pennies. Surrounding the Lincoln Memorial are the words United States of America at the top, and at the bottom, the denomination 1 cent. Just above the memorial, you'll see the Latin phrase e pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. The 1981 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, weighing 3.11 grams. This composition was standard for Lincoln pennies until the switch in 1982, when rising copper prices led to the introduction of a cheaper zinc core with a thin copper plating. The copper composition of the 1981 penny is a key factor in its value and collectability today, as copper-based pennies are considered more valuable than their zinc counterparts. So, what makes the 1981 Lincoln penny so valuable? First off, let's talk about supply and demand. The U.S. Mint produced billions of Lincoln pennies in 1981, with over 5.4 billion minted in Philadelphia, 5.3 billion in Denver, and 4.1 million in San Francisco for proof sets. With so many coins in circulation, it might seem like the 1981 penny wouldn't be rare or valuable, right? Well, not exactly. The value of the 1981 penny lies not only in its copper content but also in the condition and rarity of specific types of coins from that year. While most 1981 pennies are worth face value, certain coins in mint condition, as well as coins with errors, can fetch thousands or even millions of dollars at auction. Let's break down some of the key factors that contribute to the big money value of the 1981 Lincoln penny. 1. Copper composition. As we mentioned earlier, the 1981 penny is made of 95% copper. With the rise in copper prices over the years, the intrinsic metal value of these pennies has increased. Although it's illegal to melt down pennies for their copper content in the US, the fact that they contain a significant amount of copper makes them more desirable to collectors. 2. Condition matters. The condition of a coin is one of the most important factors when determining its value. Coins that are in uncirculated or mint state condition can be worth exponentially more than those that have been heavily circulated. Coins graded MS65 or higher mint state are considered to be in exceptional condition and can command top dollar at auction. 3. Error coins. One of the most exciting aspects of coin collecting is the hunt for error coins. Errors occur during the minting process and can include things like doubled dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or die cracks. These mistakes are relatively rare, and collectors are willing to pay big money for these unique coins. In 1981, some Lincoln pennies were struck with doubling errors or off-center strikes, which makes them particularly valuable. 4. Proof coins. Another type of valuable coin from 1981 is the proof coin, which was minted in San Francisco and carries the S mint mark. Proof coins are struck using specially prepared dies and are known for their mirror-like finish and exceptional detail. If you have a 1981 S-proof penny in perfect condition, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now, let's take a look at some notable sales and auctions involving the 1981 Lincoln penny. While no single 1981 penny has yet sold for $145 million, there have been some incredible sales that give us an idea of what the future might hold. In recent auctions, pennies from 1981 in mint state condition or with errors have sold for impressive sums. A 1981 Lincoln penny graded MS66 recently sold for over $3,000 at auction. Another 1981 penny, with a double die error, fetched nearly $7,000, and a 1981 S-proof penny, graded PR70 DCM Deep Cameo sold for more than $4,000. The value of 1981 Lincoln pennies continues to rise as collectors search for high-grade examples and rare errors. With increasing demand and a shrinking supply of these high-quality coins, it's not hard to imagine a future sale of a pristine 1981 penny hitting millions of dollars. Dear coin collectors and treasure hunters, today, we're going to dive deep into the world of pennies, but not just any penny. We're focusing on the 1982 D Lincoln penny, a coin that has sparked serious excitement among collectors, investors, and history buffs alike. Could this penny really be worth a jaw-dropping $120 million in today's market? Stick around because we're going to break it all down. We'll explore the fascinating history behind the 1982 D Lincoln penny, explain why it could potentially be so valuable, and show you exactly what makes some of these coins worth such a fortune. And who knows? You might just discover you've been sitting on a gold mine all along. The year was 1982, a time of change for the U.S. Mint. The production of pennies had been consistent for decades, but by 1982, rising copper prices forced the mint to rethink the composition of the iconic Lincoln penny. 4 years, pennies had been made from a 95% copper and 5% zinc composition. However, with copper prices soaring, the mint needed to switch to a more cost-effective material. This led to the creation of zinc pennies, which are composed of 97.5% zinc with just a thin copper plating. But here's where things get really interesting. 1982 ** was a transition year, and both copper and zinc pennies were produced. This resulted in multiple varieties of the 1982 penny, including differences in weight, composition, and mint marks. The 1982 D penny, which was struck at the Denver Mint, is at the center of one of the biggest mysteries and most intriguing coin values in the numismatic world today. Now, let's talk about the two different types of 1982 pennies, copper and zinc. In the early part of 1982, pennies were still being made from the traditional copper composition, weighing 3.11 grams. But in the later months of 1982, the mint began producing pennies with a new zinc core, weighing 2.5 grams. This change may seem small, but it's incredibly important to collectors because some of the rarest and most valuable 1982 pennies are tied to these weight and composition differences. The key to determining whether you have a copper or zinc 1982 penny is simple: just weigh it. If your penny weighs 3.11 grams, it's made of copper. If it weighs 2.5 grams, it's the zinc variety. However, a very special copper variety from Denver could be the coin worth millions, and that's what we're focusing on in this video. Now, here's where things get really exciting. There is a legend among collectors about the 1982 D Lincoln penny, specifically those that were mistakenly struck in copper rather than zinc. Only a handful of these rare copper 1982 D pennies are known to exist, and they are considered the holy grail of modern pennies. In 2019, one of these extremely rare 1982 D copper pennies sold for $18,000 at auction. But here's the kicker: experts believe that if one of these coins is found in perfect, mint condition, it could be worth a staggering $120 million or more. That's right, a penny that could buy you a mansion, a private jet, or even a small island. The mystery surrounding these copper 1982 D pennies is that they shouldn't have been made. By the time Denver was minting these pennies, the switch to zinc had already been completed. So how did a few copper pennies slip through the cracks? That's what makes them so rare and valuable. So, how can you tell if you have one of these ultra-rare, potentially $120 million 1982 D copper pennies? Here's a quick guide to help you identify it. 1. Look for the mint mark. The first thing to check is the D mint mark, located just below the year on the obverse front of the penny. This indicates that your penny was struck at the Denver Mint. 2. Weigh the coin. The easiest way to tell if you have a rare 1982 D copper penny is to weigh it. If it weighs 3.11 grams, congratulations, you might have a copper penny. If it weighs 2.5 grams, it's made of zinc and, unfortunately, won't be worth millions. 3. Examine the condition. Like any collectible coin, the condition of your 1982 D penny plays a huge role in its value. Coins in mint state or uncirculated condition are worth significantly more than those that have been heavily circulated. 4. Get your coin graded. If you think you've found a rare 1982 D copper penny, the next step is to have it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. A graded, authenticated copper penny can fetch much higher prices at auction, especially if it's in high-grade condition. The 1982 D copper penny has already made headlines in the numismatic world. As we mentioned earlier, one example of this rare coin sold for $18,000 at auction. But with only a few known to exist, collectors are constantly on the lookout for more, and the value of these coins has skyrocketed. In the future, as more people become aware of this rare variety and more collectors enter the market, the price of a perfect condition 1982D copper penny could reach astronomical levels. Some experts even predict that if one of these pennies were to surface in flawless MS68 or MS69 condition, it could break records and fetch as much as $120 million. That's the dream for collectors and investors, finding a hidden gem in a collection or coin roll that could change their life forever. Now you might be wondering, why are pennies like the 1982D copper penny worth so much? The answer lies in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins. Over the years, certain coins have gained significant value due to their rarity, errors, and historical significance. For the 1982D penny, it's all about the unusual combination of it being a copper coin struck during a year of transition to zinc, making it incredibly rare. Only a few copper varieties have been found, and as collectors and investors seek to complete their collections or find investment opportunities, the value of these rare pennies continues to climb. But it's not just about this penny. Many Lincoln pennies from different years are worth more than their face value, especially those with mint errors or in high-grade condition. That's why coin roll hunting and collecting can be such a rewarding hobby. You never know when you might stumble across a penny that's worth big money. Dears fellows and coin collectors and curious minds, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into a coin that has been stirring up a lot of buzz lately, the 1984D Lincoln penny. Could it really be worth $103 million? You might just have one sitting in your change jar or tucked away in an old collection. In this video, we're going to explore the history of the 1984D Lincoln penny, discuss why collectors are going crazy for it, and most importantly, how this humble penny could potentially bring you some big money. We'll look at its rarity, any unique errors, and its current market value. So stick around because you won't want to miss this deep dive into one of America's most iconic coins. Before we dive into the value of the 1984D Lincoln penny, let's start with some history. The Lincoln penny has been an enduring symbol of American coinage ever since its introduction in 1909, commemorating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design, created by Victor David Brenner, is instantly recognizable, featuring Lincoln's profile on the obverse side and the iconic wheat ears on the reverse until 1959, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. By the time we reach 1984, the Lincoln penny is a coin that everyone in America is familiar with. The D mint mark you'll find on some pennies from this year tells us that this particular penny was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the U.S. Mint's key production facilities. 1984 was a significant year in American history, with Ronald Reagan in the White House, and the country was going through a period of economic growth and optimism. The Denver Mint, during this year, produced 6.6 billion Lincoln pennies, a staggering number. However, not all of these pennies are created equal, and some have become incredibly valuable due to errors, their mint condition, or rarity. Let's dig into what makes the 1984D penny so special. Now let's talk about the design and composition of the 1984D Lincoln penny. The obverse, or front, of the penny features Abraham Lincoln's bust, as designed by Victor David Brenner. This classic design has remained a fixture on American pennies for over a century. The reverse side, at this time, still displayed the Lincoln Memorial, which had been in use since 1959. In terms of composition, the 1984D penny was made from 97.5% zinc with a thin copper plating of 2.5%. This is important because, before 1982, pennies were made primarily of 95% copper, which gave them a heavier weight and different appearance over time. But starting in the early 1980s, due to the rising cost of copper, the U.S. Mint switched to a zinc core with a copper plating. This change has had significant effects on the way these pennies have aged and the types of errors that can occur during production. So, why exactly is the 1984D Lincoln penny potentially worth so much money? There are a few key factors that can make this coin incredibly valuable. 1. Mint errors. Mint errors are a huge reason why certain coins become extremely valuable. Errors occur during the production process at the mint, and collectors love these because they're rare and unique. With the 1984D Lincoln penny, the most famous error is the double die. The 1984 double die obverse DDO is a highly sought-after variety where you can see noticeable doubling on Lincoln's ear. This error can make a 1984D penny worth anywhere from a few hundred to several $1,000s, depending on its condition and the clarity of the doubling. We'll talk more about how to spot these errors in a bit. 2. Condition. Like with all collectible coins, condition is king. Coins that are in mint state condition, meaning they haven't been circulated and show no signs of wear, are significantly more valuable than those that have been used. Collectors and grading services like PCGS or NGC use a scale from 1 to 70 to rate a coin's condition, with MS65 and higher being considered excellent. A 1984 D Lincoln penny in MS67 or MS68 condition can fetch thousands at auction. 3. Rarity. Even though billions of pennies were minted in 1984, the number of error coins and high-grade examples that have survived is much smaller. That scarcity is what drives up the price. Combine that with the increasing demand for vintage coins, and you've got the perfect storm for a coin to become incredibly valuable. Could one of these error coins in top condition sell for $103 million? While that price may seem astronomical today, the rare coin market has seen surprising spikes in value, and it's not impossible to imagine a perfect specimen with a famous error fetching a price in that range someday. Coins like the 1933 Double Eagle and 1804 draped bust dollar have set precedents for multi-million-dollar coin sales. So, how can you tell if your 1984 D Lincoln penny is one of those valuable error coins? Here are some key things to look for. 1. Check for the double die obverse, DDO. The 1984 D penny is famous for its double die obverse, where you'll see clear doubling on Lincoln's ear. The doubling is visible even without a microscope, but to be sure, use a coin loop or a 10x magnification to inspect Lincoln's ear, eye, and the area around the date and min mark. If you see clear, distinct doubling, you've hit the jackpot. 2. Look for repunched min marks. Another error that can increase a penny's value is the repunched min mark RPM. In some cases, the D mint mark may have been struck more than once, causing a noticeable shift. This type of error is rarer but can significantly boost the coin's worth. 3. Examine the condition. As mentioned earlier, the condition of the coin is critical in determining its value. If your 1984 D penny is in mint state condition, meaning no scratches, discoloration, or wear, it's going to be worth more than a circulated coin. If you're serious about selling it, consider sending your penny to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC for certification. A high-grade error coin can fetch hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in some cases, might even approach that $103 million mark. Let's talk about some notable sales and auction results for the 1984 D Lincoln penny and similar error coins. While no 1984 D penny has sold for $103 million yet, there have been some impressive sales that highlight the growing demand for these coins. In 2017, a 1984 double die obverse penny in MS67 condition sold for over $5,000 at auction. In 2020, a similar DDO penny graded at MS68 sold for nearly $8,000. And as the market for rare coins continues to grow, my dear fellow coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters, today, we're diving into the fascinating world of one of the most iconic coins in U.S. history, the 1989 Lincoln penny. You might be thinking, it's just a penny, right? Well, think again. Could a penny in your pocket really be worth a staggering $74 million? Some rare coins have reached incredible values, and we'll explore whether this humble coin could be next in line. In this video, we'll cover everything you need to know about the 1989 Lincoln penny, from its historical background to its potential big money value. We'll talk about the key factors that make certain 1989 pennies stand out, how to identify a rare one, and why it might just be worth more than you think. Let's get started. The Lincoln penny has a long and storied history in the United States, and the 1989 Lincoln penny is no exception. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, and it replaced the Indian head cent that had been in circulation since the mid-1800s. By 1989, the Lincoln penny had already been in production for 80 years, with only a few changes to its composition and design over the decades. The 1989 Lincoln penny features the same iconic design that we've come to know and love. On the obverse side, we have the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse side still carries the image of the Lincoln Memorial, which replaced the original wheat ears in 1959. But there's more to the story of the 1989 penny than just its design. In this video, we'll break down what makes this coin special and why certain versions of it can be worth a fortune. The 1989 Lincoln penny might seem ordinary at first glance, but its design and composition are key to understanding its value. As with most pennies produced after 1982, the 1989 penny is made of 97.5% zinc with a thin copper coating, giving it the traditional appearance of a copper coin while being more cost-effective for the U.S. Mint to produce. The obverse side features Abraham Lincoln's right-facing profile, with the date, 1989, and the word liberty. The words "In God We Trust" are inscribed above Lincoln's head, a hallmark of U.S. currency since the late 1800s. On the reverse side, you'll find the image of the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of national pride and history. Below the memorial are the words 1 cent, while the top bears the inscription United States of America, and in the middle, the famous E pluribus unum motto. While the design might not stand out as particularly rare or special, there are certain 1989 pennies that are far from ordinary. In fact, some of them could be worth millions of dollars due to their unique characteristics, errors, or condition. But before we talk about value, let's take a closer look at how this coin was made. The 1989 Lincoln penny was produced in 3 different U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia No Mint Mark, Denver D Mint Mark, and San Francisco S Mint Mark for proofs. In total, billions of these pennies were struck in 1989, making it one of the most common coins of the time. However, as we all know in the coin world, not every penny is created equal. One of the reasons why certain 1989 Lincoln pennies can be worth big money is due to mint errors. These errors are mistakes that occur during the coin's production, and collectors are always on the lookout for these rare finds. Here are some of the most valuable mint errors to watch out for. 1. Double die. A double die error occurs when the coin's design is struck twice, slightly misaligned, creating a doubling effect. This error is usually seen in the lettering or numbers, such as the date or the word liberty. Pennies with a double die can be worth thousands or even millions of dollars depending on the visibility and severity of the error. 2. Off-center strikes. Another popular mint error is the off-center strike, which happens when the coin is not properly aligned with the dies during striking. This causes the design to be printed off-center, leaving part of the coin blank. The more off-center the strike, the rarer and more valuable the coin. 3. Die cracks and cuts. Over time, the dies used to mint coins can develop cracks, which are then transferred to the coins. These cracks can create lines across the coin's surface, known as die cracks. Cuts occur when a piece of the die breaks off, leaving a raised blank area on the coin. Both of these errors can increase the coin's value significantly. 4. Wrong planchet errors. Occasionally, a penny might be struck on the wrong planchet, the metal disc used to make coins. For example, a 1989 Lincoln penny might be struck on a dime planchet, creating a smaller and thinner penny. These errors are incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. So, if you have a 1989 Lincoln penny with one of these errors, you could be holding on to something very special. Now, let's talk about how much these coins could actually be worth. Now comes the question you've all been waiting for. How much is a 1989 Lincoln penny worth in today's market? The answer varies widely depending on the condition of the coin, the presence of mint errors, and other factors. Let's break it down. 1. Circulated pennies. If your 1989 penny has been in circulation, meaning it's been used in everyday transactions and shows signs of wear, it's likely worth only face value, 1 cent. However, even circulated pennies can become valuable if they have a significant mint error like a double die or off-center strike. 2. Mint state pennies. For pennies in mint state condition, meaning they've been preserved without any wear, the value can rise dramatically. A 1989 Lincoln penny graded MS-65 by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC can fetch anywhere from $5 to $25 at auction. However, if your penny is graded MS-67 or higher, the value can increase to $100 or more. 3. Error coins. Here's where things get really exciting. A 1989 Lincoln penny with a major mint error, like a double die, can be worth thousands or even millions of dollars. For example, a penny with a major doubling on the date or liberty could fetch $10,000 to $50,000 at auction, depending on the condition. 4. Potential for big money. While no 1989 penny has sold for $74 million yet, it's important to remember that the coin market is unpredictable. High-grade, error-filled pennies can see their values skyrocket as more collectors enter the market and competition for rare coins increases. If you have the right combination of rarity, error, and condition, who knows, your penny could be the next big sale that shocks the numismatic world. Dear coin collectors and history lovers, today, we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins, especially those that could be worth big money. And today, we're going to explore the 1990 Lincoln penny, a coin that's stirring up quite a buzz in the collector's market, with speculation that it could be worth an incredible $88 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, hold on to your hats because in this video, we're going to explore the rich history behind the 1990 Lincoln penny, why it's so valuable today, and how you can determine whether you might have one of these hidden treasures sitting in your collection. From the unique design and minting process to the potential for rare errors, we'll cover it all. We'll also discuss some record-breaking sales and, of course, how you can sell your own 1990 Lincoln penny for top dollar if you think it's a winner. Let's get started. The year was 1990, a year that saw the end of the Cold War, the rise of technology, and the launch of the Hubble Space Telescope. But in the world of coin collecting, it was business as usual at the U.S. Mint, where millions of Lincoln pennies were being produced. These pennies, also known as the Lincoln Memorial Pennies, were part of a long tradition that began back in 1909, when the Lincoln penny was first introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1990, the design of the penny had remained largely unchanged for decades. The obverse front of the coin features the iconic portrait of President Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse back features the image of the Lincoln Memorial, which had been used since 1959. While the 1990 Lincoln penny might look like just another everyday coin, there are a few key factors that can turn it into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Narrator engaging tone asterisk. Before we dive into the specifics of the 1990 Lincoln penny, let's talk about the minting process itself. The U.S. Mint operates multiple facilities, and in 1990, Lincoln pennies were produced at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Philadelphia Mint *** penny struck here will have no mint mark, just the date 1990. Denver Mint ** look for a small d mint mark below the date, indicating that your coin was minted in Denver. San Francisco Mint * penny struck here, typically proof coins, will have an S mint mark. Why is this important? Well, coins from different mints can have varying values due to differences in production quality, error rates, and overall rarity. The Denver Mint in particular is known for producing some fascinating error coins, which we'll get into later. The 1990 penny was made from 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. This was the standard composition for pennies since 1982, when the rising cost of copper forced the U.S. Mint to switch from the traditional all-copper pennies to a copper-plated zinc version. Even though these coins were mass-produced, the possibility of rare mint errors or exceptional condition can send their value skyrocketing. Now let's get to the part you've all been waiting for. How can a 1990 Lincoln penny be worth millions of dollars? The answer lies in mint errors and the condition of the coin. Mint errors are mistakes made during the coin's production, and they can turn an ordinary penny into a highly valuable collector's item. Some of the most valuable Lincoln pennies have been those with rare and unusual errors, such as 1. Double die **. This occurs when the coin is struck twice with a slightly misaligned die, causing the design elements, like Lincoln's profile or the date, to appear doubled. A double die error is one of the most sought-after errors in coin collecting, and if you have a 1990 Lincoln penny with this error, you could be sitting on a fortune. 2. Off-center strike **. An off-center strike happens when the coin is struck off-center, resulting in a portion of the design being cut off. These error coins can be worth thousands of dollars, depending on how much of the design is missing. 3. Die cracks and cuts **. Die cracks occur when the die used to strike the coin develops cracks, leading to raised lines or blobs of metal on the surface of the coin. A cut is a die crack that results in a missing portion of the design, typically along the rim of the coin. These errors are less common and can add significant value to the coin. 4. Missing mint mark **. One of the most famous and valuable errors on a 1990 Lincoln penny is a missing mint mark on proof coins from the San Francisco Mint. Proof pennies should have an S mint mark, but some examples were struck without it. These coins are extremely rare and can sell for tens of thousands of dollars. If you find any of these errors on your 1990 Lincoln penny, you might be holding on to a small fortune. Even pennies in perfect, mint-state condition with no errors can command high prices, especially if they're professionally graded as MS67 or higher. Okay, so how can you tell if your 1990 Lincoln penny is worth millions? Here's what you need to do. 1. Inspect the coin for errors. Start by carefully examining your penny for any signs of mint errors. Look closely at the date, mint mark, and Lincoln's profile for any signs of doubling, off-center strikes, or other imperfections. If you think you've spotted an error, it's time to take a closer look. 2. Check the mint mark. As we mentioned earlier, the mint mark can make a big difference in value. If your penny has a missing mint mark or a repunched mint mark RPM, it could be worth more than you think. 3. Evaluate the condition. The condition of your penny is one of the most important factors in determining its value. Coins that have been heavily circulated and show signs of wear will be worth less than those in mint state condition. Use a coin grading guide or take your penny to a professional grader to get an accurate assessment. 4. Professional grading. If you believe you have a valuable coin, consider getting it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. These services will authenticate the coin and give it a grade based on its condition, which can significantly increase its value. A 1990 Lincoln penny graded MS67 or higher could be worth thousands of dollars. Narrator excited tone asterisk. Now, let's talk about the big money. While it's rare for a single 1990 Lincoln penny to fetch $88 million on the open market, there have been some astonishing sales over the years that suggest the potential for this coin to hit incredible heights. A 1990 Lincoln penny in MS68 condition, with no errors, sold for over $5,000 at auction. Proof coins with the infamous missing mint mark have sold for as much as $50,000. Error coins, such as double dies or off-center strikes, have been known to reach into the six-figure range at auctions.so. Could the next big sale reach $88 million? It's possible. As the My dear coin enthusiasts, treasure hunters, and history buffs, welcome back to another exciting video where we dive deep into the world of rare and valuable coins. Today, we're exploring the incredible story of the 1993 Lincoln penny. Could this small coin from the United States really be worth an astonishing $111 million in today's market? Stick around, because we're about to uncover everything you need to know about this fascinating coin, from its history and design to its potential value for collectors. In today's video, we'll walk you through the historical significance, the design intricacies, and why some collectors believe certain 1993 Lincoln pennies could hold life-changing value. So, get comfortable, grab your magnifying glass, and let's jump right into the story of the 1993 Lincoln penny. To fully appreciate the value of the 1993 Lincoln penny, we first need to take a step back and understand the broader historical context. The year was 1993, and while it might not seem like ancient history, a lot was happening in the United States that had an impact on the economy and daily life. Bill Clinton had just taken office as president, and the country was experiencing a period of technological innovation, along with the early signs of a growing digital economy. But while the world was focused on innovation, the U.S. Mint was still churning out one of its most iconic coins, the Lincoln penny. This penny, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, had become a staple of American coinage. By 1993, Lincoln's profile had graced the front of the penny for over 8 decades. However, many collectors don't realize that 1993 marked an important moment for coin production. The 1990s saw a resurgence in coin collecting, thanks in part to the increased interest in finding rare era coins and high-quality specimens from modern mintages. While pennies might seem ordinary to most, a rare 1993 Lincoln penny in perfect condition can fetch astronomical sums on the collector's market, and we're here to tell you why. Let's talk about the design of the 1993 Lincoln penny. Like all pennies from this era, it features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner. This design has remained a constant since 1909 and has become one of the most recognized images in U.S. coinage. On the reverse side, we see the Lincoln Memorial, which replaced the earlier wheat ears design in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The Lincoln Memorial reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo, was used on pennies up until 2008. The intricate detail of the memorial, with tiny engravings of Lincoln's statue visible between the columns, makes this a coin that's appreciated not only for its historical significance but also for its design artistry. Now, let's talk about the composition. The 1993 penny, like most modern pennies, is composed of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. This composition was introduced in 1982 to replace the traditional copper pennies, which had become too expensive to produce due to rising copper prices. However, don't let the zinc fool you. This penny could still be worth millions if you have the right one. Now, we know what you're really here for. How can a 1993 Lincoln penny be worth up to $111 million? The answer lies in 2 key factors, rarity and condition. Point 1. Condition. First and foremost, the condition of a coin is everything when it comes to determining its value. A coin that has been in circulation, exposed to wear and tear, is worth far less than a coin in mint state condition. Coin grading services like PCGS Professional Coin Grading Service and NGC Numismatic Guarantee Corporation use a grading scale from 1 to 70, with MS70 mint state 70 being a perfect, flawless coin. The higher the grade, the more valuable the coin. A 1993 Lincoln penny graded at MS-68 or MS-69 is already quite rare and could be worth thousands of dollars. However, finding one in MS-70 condition is the dream of any collector, and that's where the big money comes in. Point 2. Rarity. While millions of pennies were minted in 1993, only a tiny fraction of those are considered rare. The rarity often comes from minting errors, such as a doubled die, off-center strike, or repunched mint mark. These errors are the result of mistakes made during the minting process, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for them. For instance, a 1993 Lincoln penny with a significant mint error, graded in MS-70, could fetch a staggering price at auction. Some experts even believe that one day, a rare 1993 penny could hit the $111 million mark if the right combination of factors, demand, rarity, and condition, aligns. Let's take a closer look at the minting process and why errors can make a coin so valuable. The US Mint uses a high-speed production process to strike millions of pennies every year. But like any manufacturing process, mistakes can happen. Here are some common error types that make a 1993 Lincoln penny particularly valuable. 1. Double die. One of the most famous minting errors is the double die. This occurs when the coin is struck more than once with a slightly shifted die, resulting in a doubling effect on certain parts of the design, most often the date or Lincoln's profile. A double die error on a 1993 penny could significantly increase its value. Point 2. Off-center strike. An off-center strike happens when the coin is not properly aligned with the dies during the minting process. If a penny is struck off-center by a significant margin, it becomes a rarity that collectors are eager to get their hands on. Point 3. Repunched mint mark RPM. The 1993 Lincoln penny was primarily minted in Philadelphia, which means it has no mint mark. However, for a penny struck in Denver with a D mint mark or San Francisco with an S mint mark, it's possible to find a repunched mint mark, where the mint mark was accidentally struck more than once. This error is rare and highly valuable. If you come across a 1993 Lincoln penny with any of these errors, it could be worth much more than face value. Error coins in high-grade condition are extremely sought after, and the right coin could be worth tens of thousands, or even millions, at auction. Over the years, we've seen some jaw-dropping auction sales for Lincoln pennies, including pennies from the 1990s. Let's take a look at some of the most notable sales and why collectors are willing to pay big bucks for the right penny. In 2019, a 1993 Lincoln penny graded MS-69 with a double die error sold for nearly $10,000 at auction. While this might seem like a lot, it's just the tip of the iceberg for rare Lincoln pennies. A 1943 bronze